everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and last night I got to see the first episode of Marvel's What If Season 2, which they're going to be doing something interesting this year. Every episode is going to be released one a day for the next 9 days. So yesterday was the first day. Today there's already a second episode out, which I have not watched yet. And I'm going to be trying to keep up with these as much as I can. Obviously, you know, Christmas is happening and then New Year's is going to happen, which I think this might overlap with New Year's also, right? Yeah, I think so. Anyways, so I'll try to do this every day as they come out, but you know, I might be a day behind. But I have seen the first episode, which is what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps, which this one was, you know, it was an interesting little, what would you call it? Like a noir detective little thriller, with, you know, obviously Nebula being the starring character, and the setup is pretty cool, but I have some questions as to like how it specifically worked out, because basically Ronan the Accuser betrays Thanos and manages to kill him, which, you know, I guess if this is Thanos without any Infinity Stones and Ronan had the Power Stone at this point, I guess it makes sense, maybe. And so I guess he kills Thanos, and Nebula's kind of left on her own, and now she was basically accepted into the Nova Corps because Nova Prime found her and recruited her, and she kind of just like that, she's now a good guy, or at least, you know, she's working with the Nova Corps, and she's fully dedicated to him against Ronan. Now, timeline wise, I have to assume that this is happening before the events of Guardians of the Galaxy, because you know, we don't see any hint of the rest of the Guardians, although we do see Groot. He's on what's the name of the planet where the Nova are? Anyways, Xandar. He's on Xandar, which I'm not sure he would be there because we don't even see Rocket Raccoon, so I'm not sure why Groot is there. Maybe we're just not supposed to think that much about it, but I'm like, okay, so all these characters are on Xandar. Even Yondu was there. He's actually dead at the very beginning. So Yondu's there, but not the rest of the Ravengers are there. So I don't know where Peter Quill and everyone else is supposed to be. It's interesting. I'm not entirely sure how this lines up with everyone being on this planet, which is very important for this plot specifically, because basically what happens is that once Ronan betrays Thanos, he comes to Xandar to destroy them, which was, you know, his main goal in the first Guardians movie, right? To destroy Xandar and the Nova Corps. And they put a planetary shield around the entire system that is meant to lock for like 50 years. Which, one, if they had that in the first movie, it seems like they would have used it, but okay. But basically, they're all kind of trapped there on the planet, and just over the course of the last 5 years of being there, everything's kind of basically turned into a Blade Runner, really run down, kind of rugged place where now you have all this crime happening, and the Nova Corps are, you know, the only thing keeping order in this place now, right? So again, it's like, so I guess Groot was on planet and Rocket was not somehow, and we don't see any hint of the rest of the Guardians crew. Although, no, actually I think Drax might make an appearance really quick. I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm not sure it all actually makes sense if you follow like the logic of the movies, because, you know, the premise here is supposed to be what if this one singular change happens, right? But it feels like a lot of things changed, but whatever. I'm overthinking it. It doesn't matter. The point is, we get like a pretty cool detective noir story with Nebula. She's trying to solve the murder of Yondu, and he had this map that basically it all leads up to someone's trying to shut down the shields and help Ronan destroy the planet. And it ends up being Nova Prime. Apparently, like, yeah, the lady in charge of the entire Nova Corps was basically just going to surrender to Ronan. Like, she just gave up. I guess that was the plot. Like, oh, you know, Ronan said he'll still let me be in charge, but yeah, I basically give up. Oh, and Jan Rog makes an appearance here, and, you know, he's already in jail, and so, the events of Captain Marvel happened in the 90s. So why is Jan Rog in jail here on Xandar? I don't know. He had no part to play in the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I don't know why Jan Rog's here, but he ends up being like someone she enlists to help get to the core of the planet, and they download the plans for the shield, and then they get stolen, and that's when we find out it was actually Nova Prime who had this whole plot set up. But of course Nebula ends up being able to stop her, and it's this pretty, epic chase scene, and that's basically it. Like they open the shields a little bit, Ronan starts to come in, and then she manages to close the shields again, destroying Ronan's ship, right? Which seems incredibly easy, but I guess, yeah, if you trap a ship right in between the shields, there you go, the ship's gone. So okay, so Ronan's taken care of, and now they can just open the shields again, right? And this is, I think, my one real thing about this whole plot, is that like Nova Prime was going to surrender to Ronan because, she's like, well, we can't live like this forever, it's been 5 years and things have only gotten worse and all this, right? Because they've basically secluded themselves inside this planet, trying to be safe from Ronan. But once Ronan's destroyed, I don't understand why Nova Prime was still like, you ruined everything, and she tried to shoot at Nebula and she falls to her death, and like, shouldn't she have been like, oh, well, okay then, the problem's solved, like there's no more Ronan, so I guess now we really can open up the shields, which they do, and everything's fine. So I don't understand why Nova Prime was still like being evil in that moment and then fell to her death. That didn't quite make any sense to me, but whatever, it's fine. This episode was cool, having a Nebula focused episode. She's a good character. She's still got like the same, kind of monotone, sarcastic voice about her. We see a lot of Howard the Duck, which is always nice. Like he's slowly getting more and more screen time. I feel like it's only a matter of time before we get at least like a Howard the Duck special, or at least he's like a more prominent character in a real movie or something, right? Because I know maybe somewhere in some studio head they're still scared of like that 80s Howard the Duck movie because of how infamously bad that was, but at this point I think we've become so integrated with the MCU version of Howard the Duck that it would be fine to make him at least like a sidekick in some actual movie. So we have that, but yeah, so far no real connection to like the rest of the multiverse or anything else going on, and I suspect that it's going to be just like the first season, where we're gonna start off with a bunch of individual entries that are very self-contained, and then by the end of it I'm sure it's all gonna connect together, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, so here's and all these characters are brought together again to do something, in the multiverse Avengers or whatever they call themselves. It's all gonna it's all gonna end up coming together by the end of it, and I guess we'll see what, 8 days from now. So yeah, perfectly fine first episode, interesting concept, and other than questions of like, well, timeline wise, does this really add up? Like, why would these characters all be on Xandar? I don't know. Yeah, it's a decent start to this second season. I'm excited for the next one. I think it's the Peter Quill, evil Peter Quill, or at the very least Kid Peter Quill, who has powers and might kind of be evil, but he needs to get stopped because he has like godlike powers, right? So anyways, let me know what you guys think about this first episode, and I know the episode list is out there. I haven't really looked into it. I think it's, maybe it's gonna be better if I don't really know which episode's coming next. So let me know which one you're excited for, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.